Welcome back, socialites. It is another episode of Survivor Social, the podcast where we focus on Survivor with a social lens to the episode. My name is Tegwyth, and we're back again with my incredible, incomparable co-host, Cara. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I mean, who knew we were getting Survivor the Musical this week?
I know. Survivor the Musical. I was a High School Musical fan growing up. I didn't know that I was going to get a Survivor musical this week. How did you feel about this episode?
It wasn't my favorite episode. I was kind of disappointed I was definitely disappointed with the outcome, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like something big could have happened here, and I just missed the mark.
You just missed the mark. Yeah, we have a lot to get into. So let me before we get into it, just as a reminder, make sure to like and subscribe to Survivor Now on YouTube and Spotify. We are live here over on TikTok as well as Instagram, or not Instagram. What is this called? YouTube. So if you have any questions, if you want to follow along, please. We love the interactions. Gemini, what's up? You're here. Good evening. Daryl says this episode needed more David. If there's one thing Daryl is talking about, it is David, which I think is so funny. Okay, so let's start, I think, just at the top of the episode. Mary obviously was blindsided, right? And so we kind of see her interacting, especially with the bottom, quote unquote, bottom people this episode, which would be Camilla, Mitch, and Star. How do you feel like Mary is playing her game now that her number one is out?
I think, I think she did well considering that she stayed over Star. So I feel like she definitely has better connections with people. I don't think she's doing anything like crazy, but she's surviving, and that's the whole point.
Sometimes that's all you have to do. I was kind of shocked that it ended up being Star and not Mary, because I know that you kind of want to know where people are playing, and they kept saying that Star was chaotic and causing a lot of chaos at camp, which I don't know that I had ever seen. But I was like, I feel like Mary is somebody who is really seemingly able to convince people. At one point Mary wasn't with David, and then all of a sudden she was. Like, how did that happen? And maybe that means that people feel like they're going to be able to work with her in the future, but I feel like that just kind of seems like a dangerous player a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. She definitely is doing well socially with people, and she also is someone who could win a competition down the line. She almost won the pole challenge. So
Yeah,
she does well in them. She could win, and I mean, we haven't seen Star kind of get close to winning, so I feel like Mary is the bigger threat out of the two of them.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's very interesting. And I think maybe this whole vote just comes down to the shot in the dark, which seems a little straightforward to me, but and that might be it. Mary doesn't have a shot in the dark. There is no, if they keep her in the game, she does not have a Hail Mary, no pun intended, in her pocket. So maybe it just really comes down to that, but I don't really see that it makes a ton of sense. And whether that's on the editors for not showing us how that makes sense, or on them not seeing the whole picture, I don't know. It's very, I feel very kind of out of the loop right now.
Yeah, we're definitely missing some pieces of things. And there were like other conversations, like Joe talking about Star, which was a weird conversation.
Very
And
weird.
even knowing that Eva hasn't liked Star since the beginning, like I feel like Star already had things not going for her.
Yeah, and Star said in her exit interview with Rob Cesternino that it was really like she blames, kind of her failing, I guess you'll say, of her game on just kind of like day one bonds, because she didn't have those bonds to begin with, and because even though she was trying to figure out a way in by giving Eva her idol and all of these different things, she didn't have those day one bonds that everyone else seemed to have on her tribe. And it's just like, because of that, she said she didn't feel like she was in on these alliances, which was really kind of upsetting to hear, that like that it really truly is these initial bonds, at least on this season, that are driving this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, most of them are still in
Yeah.
from the original Logi tribe, so
Yeah. Very, very weird. The whole thing was very weird. And especially because they were talking about her like that would be horrible if she won immunity. It's like, when has she even gotten close? Like, why is that even like
yeah.
a thought?
I we're missing something
We
with
must
Star.
be. We must be,
We must be.
or maybe we're not, and it's just like a weird dynamic. But
Mhm.
we both, you and I, have gone on record. We love Star. We are Star.
Yeah,
Star is a star in our eyes.
she
So
is.
yeah, this whole episode was just kind of
It's
confusing.
crazy. Like, even, like, I can't imagine going out there and meeting Star and not liking her, you
No.
know? So it's kinda crazy to see, like, their reactions to her, how they feel about her.
Yeah. Super, super wild.
Mhm.
And m- going back to kind of the beginning of the episode where we kind of saw things starting to form, the four kind of talking a little bit more. Did you ever feel like that was ever truly going to happen if Joe didn't win immunity, or do you feel like this was just kind of a thing that they were talking about to fill the time?
I think I don't think it would have actually happened. I think they would have seriously considered it, but if Mitch doesn't trust them with Joe having immunity, why is he gonna trust
Yeah.
them not having immunity, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever gonna pan out.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I don't feel like it was either, which is really unfortunate because I think that it's really lucky for these strong four, these four people,
Mhm.
Shaheen, Kyle, Joe, and Eva, that they have figured out a way to make at least Mitch feel so much more a part of their group.
It's it really is so interesting to watch because I feel like we're at 8. How can you be so confident in an alliance of 6 people at 8? That is there's just no it just doesn't make sense
Yeah.
logically.
Yeah, it's very weird. And here's the thing, like, obviously the thing to remember from us sitting on the couch is like, it's so much easier for us to
Mhm.
say like, turn on your people, blindside, 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 because we don't have any emotional stake in it. And I'm always the boring
Yeah.
person who always brings up, it's a very emotional game. It's why the social element is so important.
Mhm.
And you really have to keep that in mind when you're playing. And Kyle, for example, saying, "Hey, I don't want to turn on Joe because I've already burned so many people on the jury. I can't keep burning possible jury members. You do what you need to do, Camilla, but I can't keep burning people." It's a real thing. And he probably really feel when he shared his story with Joe, he probably is like, "Hey, I shared this story with Joe, but we bonded. We bonded." And
Yeah.
I think we kind of downplay how hard it is to go against that kind of connection. But it is
Mhm.
so much more fun to watch. Like, it's so much more fun to watch.
It really is. I know, like, as I was watching it, I was like, "If I'm going out, I'd rather go out to Rocks." But, like, if I'm in that situation, am I really gonna be thinking, "Let's go to Rocks," and I'm fine going out that way? Probably not.
And I think this again goes back to how well they're bringing people in on the outsides of this four,
Mhm.
um, uh, because I think, what is the difference between eighth place and sixth place? Like, maybe 10 grand, right? It's not that big of a difference. But what
Yeah.
is the difference between sixth place and potentially first place? That's like a half over, like a lot of money, like
Yeah.
$800,000 or something. Like, it's a lot of money. And so I think, from my perspective, if I am in, I think this just means that they have done such a good job at making specifically Mitch feel
Mhm.
incredibly safe, that he is really a part of their group. Or else I feel like Mitch would be like, "Hey, what is the difference between 8 and 6? There's not that much of a difference." Because right now
Yeah.
it's looking like if the four have their way, it goes Mary, Mitch, and then Camilla, right?
I think so. I don't see I don't see how it's beneficial for anyone in that 4 to flip. It it just doesn't make sense. You wouldn't
Yeah,
like, there's just no point in that happening for them. And
exactly.
the 4 on the bottom just this was their opportunity to do something, and they
Yeah.
missed their opportunity.
Yeah.
is how I feel.
Absolutely. Over on TikTok, Making the Merge says, if Camilla goes home, I will crash out. Real. That's very
Mm,
real. Because I think that Camilla has so much to bring to the table. And I'm really hopeful. I'm different than everyone else on the internet right now because I think everyone else on the internet is crashing out. They're already crashing out. They're already like, worst season ever. I hate it.
mhm.
Blah, 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 blah. I think that there's still time left to make moves. And I
Yeah.
really, and maybe I'm putting the benefit of the doubt into Shaheen and Kyle, but I really feel like Shaheen and Kyle are gonna do
Mhm.
something. Gonna do something. I don't know what it is, but I really feel like they're gonna do something. But again,
Yeah.
I could be, just really hopeful right here. But again, I don't then know what that like, do they have any benefit? Because if they go to Final Four, it's just fire making and they don't have to actually turn on anybody and they're just like, good over
Mhm.
there?
If anyone's gonna make a move, it has to be Shaheen or
It
Kyle.
has
Like,
to.
that's it. Because Joe and Eva aren't gonna do anything. Why would they make a move against one of the other people? And then what can Camilla, Mitch, and Mary really do unless one of them flip with them?
Mm,
And, you know, I I don't know. I wish this worked out better for Camilla because I think Camilla's in the best spot of the people in
mhm,
the other side, but, like, the relationship with Kyle isn't really doing much for her.
mhm.
Like, he's giving her some information, but, like, not helping her execute anything.
Yeah, I mean, he was for a while. He was like giving her the information. He was saving her. He had her back. Um, but it's having an alliance like that. I think the most important thing is to be able to make these moves. And I think that
Mhm.
this is going to be the biggest indication that we are going to have a bitter jury this season, or at least a couple of bitter jurors to make up a full bitter jury, which again, I am fine with. To be abundantly clear, I want to tell you my stance on a bitter jury. Love,
Mhm.
love, love. Um, People can vote however they want to vote, and that's what makes Survivor fun. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's my stance. But like, I think if Kyle really feels like he can't turn on anybody because this is a group of people where they won't vote for you, that I think means that it's going to be people voting based on purely like social bonds.
Mhm.
And I really like am very curious as to how this like is gonna all play out, obviously. But I really like feel like what was my point of this? I had something and I had to say my stance of my bitter jury stance, my bitter jury spiel. But I just think that I think that people are very emotional this season.
Yeah. I think
Even
so
though they're
too.
very physical, I think they're very, very emotional. And I think
Mhm.
that like that because of that, they are not willing or not able to make these big moves that we would see in other seasons because it's such an emotional season.
Yeah. Well, that definitely goes hand in hand with the honest and integrity. If, you're they're keep saying that they're gonna be upset when someone doesn't go along with that. So, I mean, we saw it with them voting out David, like, that was an emotional move,
And that man
at
was
least for
not
Joe.
happy. And that man was
No.
not happy on that jury. Oh my god. Oh
Mm-mm.
my god. I've never seen somebody look more upset in my Oh my god. He was really I don't know what was going through his mind, but if looks could kill, they would all be dead.
Yeah, and you know what? It's valid, like, he should be mad. At
I
least
mean,
at
yeah.
Joe and Eva.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they turned, but I think,
Yeah.
here I was talking to my friend Ryan earlier today, and I know this is I really feel like we're going to get a very emotional vote at the end. I don't know who
Mhm.
sits there, but I kind of feel like if Joe's sitting there, he's going to lose because of an emotional jury. I also think
Yeah.
if Eva's sitting there, she's going to lose because of an emotional jury. And I don't know how the world is going to take it because the world historically does not like bitter juries. So I really feel like that's gonna happen. I don't know.
I felt like this episode was really not a good one for Joe. I feel like it didn't make him look good at all, and I feel like this could be the start of his downfall where people are like, "Okay, well, actually, we're not rooting for Joe anymore," because everything they showed of him in this episode, I was like, ugh, like
Yeah.
this isn't good.
Yeah. And this has been brought up a bunch in the comments over here on TikTok and over in the YouTube comments. Um, Editing has been a little weird
It
recently.
has been.
And I think that, like, I think the editing is so important, especially in a show like Survivor, where it's all already happened, and you have to
Mhm.
tell these people's stories, but you pretty much know the outcome. Um, I wanna know why things are happening. I need to know why things are happening in order to really get my enjoyment. And I just don't feel like we're getting the full picture.
No, we're definitely not. I've said it like in previous episodes where I felt like I still don't know some of the people. Like we're not getting enough of everyone to know them. We're getting more from some people, but it still didn't feel like enough.
No.
And I don't know, which is weird.
Yeah. It's very
Like,
weird
what is the reason?
because I also feel like we've had some really well edited episodes this season. Like there were some
Yeah.
editing moments that I talked about that I loved, and I just really feel like it's just falling a little flat right now. And maybe it's because we're getting to the end. Because it's getting down to the nitty gritty, it's getting down to the wire, and the gameplay maybe isn't matching up to what we would want. And so the editing
Mhm.
has to really kind of push that story forward. And maybe we're just not seeing that because the gameplay of what we want is not really there. Can I also say
Yeah.
another hot take? I don't people who say they want old school Survivor back, I don't actually think they do. I don't think they want old school Survivor back because a lot of old school Survivor was alliances right to the end, man. Like I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it was mad. I just think that sometimes people like the idea of old school Survivor, and then we
Mhm.
see the gameplay that maybe isn't the best, and people get mad.
Yeah.
So
And I
sorry.
think it all depends on who's in the alliances. Like, if everyone likes who's in the alliance, then of course people are gonna, like, love it. But then if there's someone who people aren't really too fond of, immediately everyone's gonna be like, "I don't like this."
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just wanna say, random, totally random. I'm just like, this was a very weird episode, and so I feel like I've just got like
Mhm.
1,000 thoughts that are not cohesive right now because it was such an odd episode.
Yeah.
But what did you think about all the songs?
That was really weird. I was not expecting it. The Chicken and Waffles song, like, that like, that was a really interesting moment. Like, I can't even imagine being there and, like, everyone just starts singing, like,
I
why?
mean, I would love that, but I'm also kind of cringy in my day-to-day life. So, I feel like that was really weird. That was a really weird moment.
It was.
And I feel like Jeff what is Jeff doing with that? Like, we saw a comment on Reddit. Ryan showed me a comment on Reddit that was like, imagine Rudy like doing the chicken and waffles dance. It's just like so.
No. But Jeff is, like, really pushing, like, this, like, dancing and, like, club type thing in, like, every episode for some
Well,
reason, so I feel
condo.
like this was actually on brand for him
I
for this
know.
to happen.
I know. So funny. Um,
But Star's raps I liked. I
I
really
did.
enjoyed that. That whole sequence there was really good.
I did. I like Stars Rap. I like Stars Rap a lot.
Mhm.
And I like that we got to see Star a little bit more this episode. And I feel like we've been
Yep.
missing that, pretty much all season.
The second she came on screen, it was like,
Mm,
"No."
well, I know.
It was not good because we saw too much of her in this episode.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
We
too
have
much, it was good, but, like, too much and it was a
too much
bad
in a
thing.
bad way, not because she's not good,
Yeah.
but because I totally gotcha. I totally gotcha.
Yeah.
We do have some comments over here that I want to bring up from Mila. I feel like Eva's conversation with Mary didn't go great either. That's a really
Mm-mm.
great point. And I think we've had a lot of conversations about jury management, especially from the players still in the game, which is super interesting because that does not happen every single season. And it's been very overt. Camilla's brought it up at multiple tribal councils.
Mhm.
Krista brought it up at a tribal council. Mary brought it up in a confessional. And I think, again, I think that's what I was saying earlier. I think bringing up the jury, literally talking about jury management while the game is going on, and us and the editor showing us this, I think is another indicator that we're going to have a very emotional jury voting based on maybe
Yeah.
social rather than strategy or strength. And especially when Eva was having the conversation with Mary, basically saying like, we're like, there's nothing you can do, or like when she said at tribal council, like there's nothing anybody can do, just like very odd social kind of like a odd way to play the game from my perspective.
Yeah. I thought that conversation with Eva and Mary was so weird because, okay, I guess like honest, whatever, but I feel like you're being a little bit too honest where you don't want to say, I'm not going to play my idol for you. Like, there's no shot I'm going to do that. I'm going to, like, whether you're going home, it's like,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not going to help you either way. Like, it's so weird. So it's like, what's the point of us even having a relationship at that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It was,
even, sorry, go ahead.
no, go.
I was gonna say, like, it was a similar thing with, like, Mary's conversation with Joe. Like, that also wasn't a great conversation. Like, I feel like both of those conversations would have rubbed me the wrong way where I'd be like, "What like, how do you want me to feel about this?" Like,
Yeah.
how would you feel if someone came to you with this conversation?
Yeah. And I think that this was probably used and it just wasn't shown. I think that when Joe won immunity, I think this would have been a very good case for Mary and Star to use against Eva, because basically, and maybe from like Mitch's perspective, or Camilla's perspective, like they're like, maybe that doesn't matter to me. But Eva is immovable when it comes to her alliance. She is not somebody that is willing to work with anybody else ever.
Mhm.
And so if you're Mitch, or if you're Mary or whatever, you're talking to Mitch and you go, hey, Joe and Eva, they're a duo. They are tight. Eva wins final immunity. Do you think that Eva is going to bring anybody other than Joe? She is immovable in that alliance. There's nothing you can do. So that means you are forced to make fire. And whether you want to make fire or not, don't you want to have that kind of conversation? Be able to appeal to the side of them saying like, we are not able to work with her. We need to split the vote on her. Whereas
Mhm.
everybody else seems to be, and I think that's the downside of being super honest and super upfront, because that means that people know, hey, you don't want to work with me. No one, like, why can't we make this work? So that means I can't work with you. So it's just like, I think that is the argument they could have used. Maybe they did and we just didn't see it, but it was just like, she's just really hard to work with if you're not in her alliance.
Yeah, which is kinda it's yeah. Eva is someone that you can't work with if you're not Joe or in that alliance. But it's funny how we see like Mitch saying like I can't trust Star, I can't trust Mary, when there are people who like you can work with and are willing to, work with you and do things where Eva's never going to be willing to work with Mitch for
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Like
And I also think like that's a very good point. Um uh Again, because I just feel like in Survivor, if you can't trust Mary or you can't trust Star. So let's talk about Mitch. Let's focus a little bit on
mhm,
Mitch a little bit more, because his big thing was I can't trust Mary and I can't trust Star. I think specifically he said I can't trust Star, which is why he needed to go for Star. Or I can't remember who. It was one person he was really like, we got to go for her.
yeah,
Um, and I think it's very interesting because in the game like Survivor, you can't trust anybody. And I know that you have
exactly.
to find somebody that you can trust, but there's nobody that you're going to be able to trust 100% of the time. And I think this season, we're seeing people really move away from voting blocks, especially in this later time, and them not being willing to vote together just for now. And we have to vote together for the long term, which is, I think, very interesting. And I think it means that we're going to, see this alliance stay together, continue forward,
Mhm.
which I don't know that I'm going to love. But it's just like, why don't you just vote together for now and then figure it out later?
Yeah. Like, do you think you need to have full trust in people to work with them, even if it's just for one vote?
Exactly. You just have to figure out something with one vote. And like I said, what is the difference between 6th place and 8th place? It's like 10 grand,
Exactly.
20 grand. It's a lot of money. Like if I was given 20 grand, I'd be like, that's a lot of money. But if you feel like what I really don't think people are thinking about what they're going to say at final tribal council. I really don't.
Yeah. That yeah, that's why I felt like watching this where I think I would have gone to Rocks in this situation because if I'm going out, at least it's gonna be an interesting way to go out. At least it's gonna be something fun to watch and at least you tried doing something
Mhm.
versus just being picked off boring in the next episode, you know? But
Okay,
it is a tough situation for that.
it's a tough situation, but it's just like
And the odds were against them.
I
'Cause
just
they
really don't understand what like I get that we're seeing the whole story, but it just to me feels like and I want to focus it. I really think like this strong four is playing it really well versus
Mhm.
maybe Mitch isn't reading the situation properly. That it could totally be true, but like I think that
Mhm.
means that the strong floor, these 4 people are just really doing a good job at selling. You are a part of this. We promise you're a part of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish we got to see, like, more of those conversations, like, why does Mitch feel so secure in that, you know? Like, we saw he was upset that Kyle didn't take him on the reward, like, why did that not carry over more?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. And I don't know if you saw on the press release for this next episode, there's actually going to be a journey.
Ooh.
Yeah, so somebody's going to go on a journey, which is going to be very weird. And I hope there's no lost vote this late in the game. That'd be crazy. But I hope the journey shakes it up. I'm really rooting for the journey. You won't hear me say that often. I'm rooting for this journey, man. Shake something up.
We need a good journey, and we need Eva to not go on it.
Yeah.
No offense,
Because
Eva, but, like,
she's got a
anyone
lot of stuff. She's got a
anyone but
whole
her.
tool belt of things.
Yeah, because she's kinda sitting pretty right now because her safety without power expires at 6, I
Yeah.
think? So, she has to get
Idol
through one
expires at
more.
5.
Idle at 5, so, like, she really is could be going right to the end.
Yeah, I know. She's very well insulated. I actually made a video of that. She is on paper sitting pretty right now because she's not only insulated in her alliance, she also has that strong duo. Plus, she has a public idol, and sometimes some seasons public idols are really bad for you, and then some seasons they're really good for you. And I feel like this is
Yeah.
one of the seasons where it ended up being very, very good for her. Oh, Daryl thinks that safety might expire at 7.
Okay.
So
You know what? I
maybe
hope it does.
he used it. I
That'll be
hope
interesting if it expires sooner.
yeah. But, I really pardon me, for us, for viewers, I hope we see a shakeup because I want to remind us all, this season started off very well. This pre-jury was
Mhm.
so good. This
So
pre-jury
good.
was crazy, jaw-dropping, incredible.
Mhm.
And I really think that it was just like some of the best moves with the Kyle and Camilla. The shot in the dark hitting. Kevin's blind
Mhm.
side was crazy. Like there was so much happening. Say running around in the say chasing after Mary. Like so much was happening.
So good.
It just fell flat. And so I think that these players have potential to maybe shake it up, but also like if you're in the fort, do you want to shake it up? Like
Exactly. It's like, sure, you could shake it up, but, like, you don't have to, and, like, why just shake it up to shake it up, and then that's why you go home?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the big thing. Would you rather be on a boring season and win or a good season and lose? You
Yeah.
know, it's
What would you rather?
I would rather win. Every time I'd rather win. I would rather,
Mhm.
I would always rather be a Kim Spradlin every single time.
Yeah.
Because, is it a fun season to watch? Not all the time, but not
You
personally,
won, so
but she wins $1 million and she gets, is great at the game. But,
Mhm.
I don't know. What would you rather do?
Mm.
Like, would you rather be a
I
Cass or a Kim Spradlin? A Chaos Cass or a Kim Spradlin?
I'm really I kind of think I'd rather be on a good season and, like,
Interesting.
go out in, like, an exciting way or something like that.
I
I
respect
mean,
that.
of course, I'd love to win, but I feel like I love some drama.
I respect that. I love that. I love that. Yeah, Joshua over here on TikTok says viewers have a hard time understanding that good TV doesn't mean a good game plan. And
Mhm.
that's very true. Like there is very good, like there is good gameplay, meaning strategic, moving around, chaotic, really fun, and really there's like a good strategy to that. But there's also good gameplay where you're just sitting at the top the whole time and you're controlling it.
Yeah.
You know, you're a Boston Rob, you're a D, you're just somebody, you're a Kim Spradlin, you're somebody who is controlling everything that's going on. And that is also good gameplay. It's not the most interesting to watch, but
No,
that
but it's
is
still
good.
good gameplay.
Exactly. That's why Survivor's fun. A lot of different people bring a lot of different good things to the table. And you know, we have 4 episodes left. I think things will get shaken up.
I hope so. The preview for the next episode was kind of I felt a little disappointed by it because it's like, "Oh, now you wanna make a move, like, after you got out someone who could help you make the move." But, those never really give us the full story, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe they'll do something.
Yeah, I'm hoping they will too. And I think I'm really hoping it'll happen. I think it will, but you never know. And one person we haven't talked about from this episode that I want to bring up is Kyle.
Mm.
Because, Kyle is the reason this move didn't happen. Like this could have been a very clear, easy move, going to Rocks even. If Camilla and Kyle were willing to, if Kyle was willing to do this with Camilla. But what I will say is I really liked what he was doing for their alliance in these small ways. I hope they get pissed at me, or bringing her on the reward, but choosing her second. Like some things I really did
Mhm.
like. I do get where he's coming from, but I do get how he was able to still kind of nurture this relationship with Camilla. What did you think about him and their relationship?
Yeah, I think Kyle, like, is like, means well, and he's doing as much as he can for Camilla, but, like, at the same time, I don't see how their relationship is really benefiting him at all, in a
Mhm.
way, if that makes sense. Because I don't know, I don't really see how I mean, not that it's bad for him, I think it's good for him to have Camilla, but I don't see how anything could really come for that for him,
Mhm.
unless something crazy happens, I guess. But at this point, I don't know, I feel like they're not benefiting each other right now.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
kind of
like
at a standstill.
it's kind of at a standstill, and I think it's all gonna be like what happens next. And I really
Mhm,
feel like that's why I'm pausing on kind of like how I'm feeling about this season is just like there are still 4 episodes left. Like what happens
mhm.
next? This could just be it could be like woo, and then it just goes down a little bit and then it goes right back up. Like we don't know. Um
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
but also, it could just go straight to the end. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been interesting if Kyle did flip to the other 4 and, like, did something with them, and then he's kind of at the top of that alliance where he's maybe not at the top of the 4, because like they said, Kyle would probably be the first one to go out of them.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like he is kind of in a tough situation because he wants to be good with everyone,
Yeah.
but, like,
You
at what
can't make
cost?
everybody happy. Yeah, you can't make
Yeah.
everybody happy. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a bitter jury at the end of the
Mhm.
season, and I'm excited about it.
I think so too.
I love it. I love it.
Hopefully some good questioning.
Hopefully some good questioning. Hopefully it's gonna be a very spicy, interesting final Turbo Council.
Mhm.
I'm hoping for it. Is there anything before we go to our quick commercial before we get into our questions that you wanted to make sure we touched upon?
I feel like I had something, but I can't think of what it is right now, so I'm sure we'll get to it
We'll get to it.
eventually.
So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Right after that, we're going to get into the Survivor Social Hour. So make sure to send in any questions you may have for us about this season, about Survivor in general, or about this episode. But we will see you right after this quick, what is this called? Commercial.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I am here with Survivor Now podcast, the best source for Survivor information, to show off what I do for a living. So I make custom Funko Pops. If you haven't seen or heard, you can check it out on Instagram at Todd's Pop Shop, or you can message me, toddspopshop@gmail.com, to order your own. And if you mention this podcast, you will get $10 off and a free torch. So it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to show you a few right now. We've got Troyzan here, Phil from The Amazing Race, JLP, host of Australian Survivor, and look, little Charlie. Anybody you could possibly imagine or want yourself playing an LRG or an ORG, or just with your loved one or family or pets or anything like that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to make it. You also have the chance to win a free custom pop if you sign up for Survivor Now Podcast Fantasy League. So it's pretty awesome. And it's fun. Like, who doesn't want to be a part of that? So yeah, hit me up. Get your custom pops. It's great holiday gifts, great birthday gifts. We got a new season of Survivor right around the corner. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Let's get this going.
Okay, so we do have some questions from the comments. I'll start with this one that was just sent in from Gemini. Gemini says, question, is this a bad season or a bad production?
Ooh. I don't think it's a bad season. I think it's more questionable editing of the season.
I reserve judgment on whether or not I like a season until I have some time away from it. I think watching a season live really is a much more, it puts your view of this season in a very different perspective than a rewatch. I really loved season 45, watching it live. I think on a rewatch, it's not as good. And whereas season 43, I really did not like watching. And I think on a rewatch, it's actually quite a bit better. So I don't know. And I really think that, the internet really seems to think it's either Joe or Eva winning. I really don't see that necessarily. I do kind of see a Joe win. I think I'm not seeing it as much now. I think he's kind of on the downturn, and I think he's not getting as good of an edit. I really don't see an Eva win. I know, Daryl, you're going to get mad at me in the comments. I don't see Eva win. I feel like I must be missing something because everybody in my comments making videos, every single person I'm like, it's so obvious Eva is winning. Eva is winning. I don't see that. I still see either a Joe, Kyle, or Shaheen win. And I really just don't think, I don't know. I just don't see that happening. So I reserve judgment until the very end. Am I enjoying it right now? I always love Survivor. So I like it. I'm not enjoying it as much as I did last season. Like this time last season, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's either Shaheen, Kyle, or possibly Joe. I'm not really too high on Joe winning, but I could see it happening possibly. I just don't know what Eva would say if she's sitting there. Like what does she have really that she could say? Like she hasn't really made any significant moves that I can think of,
Yeah. Other than convincing, kind of convincing Star to give her the idol, but that wasn't even really convincing Star. It's just Star gave it to her.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I think that's a good point you made. Like you can't really judge the season until after and you think about it, especially there's still a lot to happen where it could change people's minds.
There is still a lot to happen. Isabel in the comments says Eva can't win because she wants to sit next to Joe and Shaheen. Whereas Daryl says Eva is winning 100%. Gemini is saying I'm not seeing an Eva win. So we've got, conflicting opinions over here in the comments.
It's kind of similar to like what we've said about David. Like David might not win because David wants to sit next to all the people that would vote for him to win. And I think that's a similar situation for Eva. She wants to sit next to people who would be on the jury to vote for her.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I don't know. I kind of think Kyle wins now. And I'm just like, I'm all across the board. I don't know what's going on.
I think you have the best story.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we have some questions over here on TikTok. Jesus Marin says, when an alternate makes it to Survivor, is it because somebody broke the rules? So I think they're asking if an alternate goes on, is it because somebody breaks? I don't believe so. I think it just means that they somebody failed maybe their last physical exam, or they quit, they changed their mind. Maybe they broke the rules. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess that could happen.
Any of those, yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of different
There are definitely a lot of different reasons. And then there's also an alternate who makes it on a different season. So what's his name from 45? Austin made it on, was an alternate for his season who made it on. He was the alternate and he made it on. And then there were alternates like Rachel was an alternate and Shaheen was an alternate. And Tiana were alternates. But they made it on a season later. So those are two different kind of alternates. Okay, we have another question from Seraph 105. Who's your favorite winner or winners and why?
Ooh.
I like Sandra. Sorry.
Okay. I was going to say Tony.
Love. Amazing. Amazing. I think, okay. I was
going to say, is that too basic? But then you said Sandra, so.
Basic answers are good for a reason. I love Sandra. I think she's very entertaining. I think she's super fun. And I do think that she, being a 2-time winner is nothing to scoff at. And I think that's a very big deal. And so I take that into consideration. I also love, if I'm actually talking about their actual gameplay, I really enjoy JT's win. I love Token Chains. I like that season a lot. Having a perfect win is kind of crazy. And it's just a good season. So I think that's a good one. And I also love Parvati. So
there's a lot of good winners.
There are a lot of good winners.
For sure.
I think there are more good winners than bad winners.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the easier question for me is who's my least favorite winner, and his name is Brian Heidick. I don't like that guy.
I think I'm sticking with Tony for my favorite.
Love.
I think maybe it's because his season was the first one I watched, but I don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference. I think he was impressive.
So Daryl says Sandra's brought to the end her second time, wasn't impressed by her win. Tony's the best 2-time winner. Tony's the best 2-time winner out of 2. That's not okay. I get what you're saying, but it's not like they're
she still won twice.
Yeah, she was the first time, and she's the only person to win 100% of the times multiple times. That was, pretty. So even if Parvati had become the first 2-time winner right there, she wouldn't have won the 100% of the times that she'd been on Survivor. I think that is very impressive. I am a Sandra truther. There's nothing you can say to change my mind. I'm a Sandra truther. I love her. I also love Parvati, to be clear. You can love both. It is possible to love both.
Totally.
That is another one of my soapboxes. Okay.
Completely valid.
Okay, we got this comment. This is not really a question. It's a comment from Rewired. You're defending this season, and I get you're both kind. Thank you. Australian Survivor makes this look horrific. Jeff has to go. He's lost touch a long time ago. And I just kind of want to know your take, Cara, with that kind of, opinion.
I mean, I find it interesting with Australian Survivor and this season how both of them were really focused on duos and also an alliance kind of sticking throughout the season. So I feel like they have a lot of parallels in that way. I don't know. I think Jeff's just being a little quirky this season. He's maybe showing a little more personality or something. I don't think he needs to go. But I feel like you also can't compare Australian Survivor and American Survivor. It's two completely different things.
They're two very different things.
Maybe not completely, but they're different.
Yeah. And I I mean, my take is that without Jeff, Survivor would be nothing, because we are very lucky to have a showrunner who actually cares about the show. There are a lot of other shows where the showrunner does nothing and they don't really add, the host, pardon me, does really nothing and they don't really add much and they don't really care. And I think that, Jeff he cares. He 100% cares. And I really don't think the show would be where it is now. At all without his kind of push through, and I think he is the best host on TV. I don't necessarily think he's lost touch. I do think he has made a point multiple times in saying that he doesn't really listen to like what international Survivor's doing, what other people are doing, because he wants it all to come naturally from him. And I think that is a little silly, because I do think that having more opinion, more ideas coming through is great. And I think that would be really good for him. But I don't, I don't really think that he's ruining the show.
No, I don't think so either. I do think like having more ideas and having different opinions or things like that coming in, it's not a bad thing, and it makes you think of other new things. So I think that could be beneficial. And I just think if Jeff isn't there, it's just gonna have a completely different feel.
Yeah. And, if there's one thing a Survivor fan is going to do, it's hate Survivor. So I like, people like, no one is ever happy. Everyone is always mad. So I really think that I get where people are coming from, but I think that him leaving, I don't think personally makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And at some point you just gotta accept things for what they are, know? So
that's my big thing. My hot take that I posted on the internet like a while ago was like, my hot take about the new era is that people are not taking the new era as at face value, and they're comparing it to like the good old days, which is silly to do in your life. You should never go back and compare, that kind of a thing. But it's just like, just approach a season, every new season, as a new season, and don't try to compare it. Don't try to, just approach it as a new thing. And I really think that people would enjoy it, because it's silly and fun and Survivor. It's a game.
Like, it is what it is. It's like, comparison is the thief of joy, You're not gonna have fun if you're comparing it to other things.
Exactly. Yes. 100%. Okay. We have a couple of more questions. Okay. Speaking of this, Unfortunately Deprived says, I hear so many things people hate about the new era and want different, but what are some things you guys actually like compared to older seasons? That's a really good question, and I really like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, starting 2 tribes, I think could make a big difference.
Yeah. 100%. No, I think the question is asking, what do we like in the new era?
What do we like? Oh, oops. See, now me hating.
Cara's a hater.
Hating. No, I actually really do like the new era, so that's actually kind of funny. Things I like about it.
I think casting off the bat. I think casting
actually,
has been really, really good. And I think we've gotten some really great storytelling because of a good cast. I don't think we would have ever been able to have a Kyle and Camilla type bond if we, had kind of casting of the past. And you can see in the winners, like the people who are able to thrive in the new era are people who I don't think would have been able to in previous, seasons. And I really think that we're just having really good casts. And that's not to say the casts in back in the day were bad. There are some that I don't think are very good, but I do think casting has gotten pretty good.
I think so too. I think I feel like every new era season so far they've had great people on. So I agree. What else?
I love 90 Minutes.
Why can I not? Oh, yes. I like seeing like some camp life and seeing that I enjoy a lot.
I love 90 Minutes. I think that's actually really big. I really feel like, I think we got to know winners that we wouldn't have gotten to know. Like, give me a 90-minute Erica win. You know what I mean? Give me 90 minutes of season 41. I think it would have been people would not have been as shocked. There wouldn't have been as many Xander truthers. Like, I really think that it would have been a much kind of different overall acceptance of the season.
I think so. That is one season that needed 90 minutes because I think that was a good season and it was just poorly executed with the editing.
That is the lowest rated Survivor season of all time, based on some ranking like IMDb or something.
That's crazy. I enjoyed that season. I think it's because it had like a good cast. They had good people on that season, and
yeah,
kind of disappointing with that. But yeah, the longer episodes are great. Oh, and well, I guess this isn't like a new era thing, but I'm glad they brought back the intro.
Yes, me too. Me too. So I think those are, and I think the thing about Survivor's good. Like, just having people out there on an island playing this game is good. And I think it's just an interesting, compelling story. And so I think there's a lot of good things. And I think there are some things that I don't necessarily love, like the 3 tribes and the 26 day. Actually, I don't think 26 days is that bad. Actually, that's my hot take.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I feel like, I don't know, I don't mind it. And also like the shot in the dark, that I feel like hasn't been a bad twist. I
like the shot in the dark. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm a shot in the dark truther. I think it's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like how it gives people one extra chance. I think it's a kind of a catch-22, but like I feel like, when it hits,
it's crazy. But also you see gameplay with people having to think about the shot in the dark. Like, you think about Jess getting out on season 46. The whole reason they did the fake idol right there was because of her shot in the dark. And so, I think that it adds in some kind of you don't want people to because sometimes it does hit. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
So I think, I think that's it. Thank you for bringing that up. That was a big one.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Good question. I liked that question. I forget who asked it, but good question. We have this question from Isabel. Isabel says, how do you guys rank the new era, fave to least fave?
Okay.
I'm not going to count 48 in this because I don't know how I'm going to like 48. I really don't like, I don't know, because I think I have to see the full season in order to kind of think about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I know.
I think I do too, but I'm not sure.
I feel like my first one is kind of like a tie.
I think it's 47, 46, 42.
Ooh.
I think 45, 41, 43, 44. I think I've only rewatched them like not all the way through. So I feel like it's that, and I feel like I liked 43 a little bit more when I rewatched it. So I think it's that.
Okay.
And I can't remember if I'm confusing. I know it happens in 44 and 45. I know the different seasons. Like, I don't have any trouble with that. I might be confusing how much I like each one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's fair. I feel like
47 and 46 are my top two.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to decide which one I want to put first. But I think I'm going to go 47, then 46.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do 45 third because I really did like 45 and I liked the people a lot.
I liked the people in 45. I just thought the gameplay at the end was kind of straightforward and not as, chaotic and crazy.
It definitely was. 45. I want to say I'm going to do 41 at 4. And then 42, 43, 44.
Okay. And again, you ask me again tomorrow, my list is going to change. Like, it's never the same twice.
I feel like the 41 I mean, no, I really did like 41, but I feel like the 42, 43, and 45 are, I guess you can add 41 there. I feel like I think I maybe would need to rewatch them to have another opinion on it.
Daryl, I love that you're always here. I don't feel like you agree with us ever because fave to least fave for Daryl is 43, 42, 41, 47, 44,
Wow.
45.
I feel like that's a hot take.
That's the opposite. That's the exact opposite. And then Maxwell over here says on TikTok says 46, 47, 44, 42, 45, 41, 43. That one I get. I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, there's somebody over here in my TikTok comments named Hannah Rose. And Hannah Rose says, egg 45. Hannah, I love you. Yeah, I think it's just hard because I'm not good at ranking things. I could never be, who's that TikTok person? Survivor Analytics. I could never be them. They're very good at putting numbers to very like movable and changeable things.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Like I'm just going off vibes.
I'm 100% just going off vibes. I'm just going off vibes. Yeah. And it changes every single time. Like my favorite winner, you'll ask me tomorrow. It'll be, you know, Fabio, you know, like it's never the same.
It's always different.
Always different. Never the same. Never the same. Okay. We have this question from Daryl. Did you enjoy the Joe slow-mo?
No. I thought it was weird. I didn't understand it.
It was about 5 minutes too long.
Oh, I agree.
It was
I would have rather the chicken and waffles song continue a little longer.
Me too. Literally, it was so long, and I literally was like, I think when Ryan and I watched it, I was like, did we pause this? Like, why is it still here?
Like, and it was so long for him just to win. Like, it's not even like he dropped.
No.
At least then maybe that would have been a little, I don't know. That would have been a little exciting.
Exactly. Also, I just want to add in Isabel's list here. Isabel says 42, 46, 47, 45, 44, 41, 43. 42 first. Interesting. I do like 42. I like Marianne's win a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, I think we'll do one more question. We have this question from Aaron. Aaron says, which archetypes do you think are overused or underused in casting?
Ooh.
I love you, Kyle. I want about one lawyer every 2 seasons. And I feel like we're getting 2 lawyers every season.
They love to cast a lawyer.
Love to cast a lawyer.
I want more people that like don't really know Survivor. I want random people they've just found and put them out there.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes such a different dynamic.
Yeah, I think I definitely think that I do agree with you. I do think the one thing that they would be fearsome, like afraid with this, is casting like influencers, because I feel like that's what they would do, right? Back in the day when they would recruit, they would like, it would be an actor or like a model or like somebody, but they weren't like online influencers, but they would be people who, like Sean Rector was an actor. I think Danielle was a model. Like there were people, they were, you know, they knew people, and that's how they got on.
Right.
My worry
randoms.
Yeah. My worry with like recruits now is it's people, they're going to go online and they're going to say, okay, this person has 100,000 followers. This person has 200,000 followers. And then I just worry that it's just going to be a bunch of influencers, maybe different kinds of influencers, just like influencers. No
influencers. Just randoms. Random people that don't have TVs or internet.
Go to the Mall of America and start handing out business cards. Just go hand out and just be like, hey, do you want
Squid Game vibes?
What?
It's giving Squid Game.
Exactly. That's what they need to do. Do you want to win $1 million? I promise you don't have to die. I promise you won't die. Put that on the business card. Do you want $1 million? We promise we're not going to kill you. We promise.
A free vacation.
A free vacation. Yeah. 100%. So I feel like that is because I agree with you. I think there need to be less super fans. And as somebody who's a super fan who wants to be on, don't listen to me. But I do think that there needs to be less super fans just to make it a little more interesting. But yeah, I just worry it'd just be a bunch of online people. Which as somebody who's an online person, maybe I shouldn't be worried about that.
True. I don't know. I just feel like when you get people that aren't familiar with the game or like don't really, I don't know much about it, I feel like you're gonna get something new that we haven't seen before versus just casting people who are fans. And I mean, that's coming from a fan, but like, I don't know. It does make interesting TV, I think. And I think we kind of saw that a little bit with David this season.
Yeah. But then I would argue with that is I will say I think David's whole thing, his vote out was good, but his whole approach was like a strong, alliance, and now everyone's mad about the strong alliance.
Yeah.
No, I was just being a devil's advocate. But I think that there's a way, like, I think the big thing is like people, like regular people like you, or like, obviously I'm a fan, but just like people who have friends need to tell friends that are interesting people, hey, you should apply to this thing. You don't have to do any, like, just spread the word with your friends, even if they don't watch.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Daryl says that we need to be cast.
I agree.
Jesse, what's up? Call us.
Exactly. We're waiting.
We're waiting by the phone. Well, thank you everybody for sending in those questions. 100%. We love chatting with you. We love all the questions. Like my favorite part of the episode. So thank you so much. But it is time for probably my favorite part of the episode, Cara's sweet thing of the episode. For those who are new, Cara, tell us what the sweet thing is.
So a sweet thing is just something in the episode that you liked, whether it's a moment or if they had food that looks good, pretty much just anything in the episode that you enjoyed. And for this episode, I think the moment that made me laugh the most was at Tribal when Star was like, and whatever, she said something like, and respectfully, didn't stutter. That was so funny.
That was really good. And I liked that Mitch also laughed too.
Yeah.
That was so funny. That was a really good moment. My favorite was the whipped cream.
Oh yeah.
Shaheen throwing whipped cream at Eva. I thought that was so funny. And it's also something I can eat, and I love whipped cream, so it's perfect. It's a double whammy for me. It's literally a sweet thing.
Literally. That was a perfect one.
I never do that. I always the first time, I mean. Daryl says my sweet thing is Shaheen throwing whipped cream on Eva's hair.
Oh,
that's what same page. Gemini says my sweet thing is Mitch getting chased by a chained up dog.
He was so real for that. I would have been scared too.
Did you see on Instagram he actually posted like the fallout of it, and you could like see his like what happened to his head, and there's he videoed where the tree he ran into. You should look it up. It's funny.
I'll have to go watch that. Yeah,
it's pretty funny. Yeah, here's the thing that I love is even in an episode that we don't like that much, we can still find things we love.
Yeah,
and we love that. Okay, and now it's the time of the episode where we crown the award that everyone has been fighting over, and it's time for the Social Butterfly Award. Nobody.
Honestly, I feel like it's a reach for this episode.
It's a hard one. Hard one. I've literally been thinking about this all day, and I don't know. Yeah. So please, you have somebody in mind? Please tell me.
I have someone in mind, and I think it's Mary.
Oh.
Okay. I think it's Mary because we saw her conversations with, Eva going to Mary. We saw Joe going to Mary, and we saw Shaheen talk to Mary as well. And I think Mary navigated this as best as she could, and she's still here over Star, and I think that has to do with her social game, at least in this episode.
I don't hate that answer. I think that's kind of out of left field, but I like it.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking like maybe, I don't know, maybe like Camilla.
I could see that one.
Because Camilla is like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all of my thoughts straight. Like she and Kyle still have a bond, right? Mary went to her obviously because and the people on the bottom, because she would have been a number, and she was willing to go for Joe, and she felt like she had the bonds to do that. Obviously Mitch said he didn't trust other people. He did say he trusted Camilla. And I think there is a moment where Camilla realized she did not have the social capital in order to pull off this, 4-4 split. And she was willing to go to rocks, that kind of a thing. And she turns it and is like, okay, I know I'm not going to be able to do it. So I'm going to throw these people under the bus. And I think that also a good social player knows when their social capital runs out. And so maybe that doesn't make you necessarily the social butterfly, but I do think that having that kind of awareness of your game is really big. And I will also say I think was there are people who I think would have, when Kyle says, I don't want to go for Joe, could have been like, we've been together this whole time. I've done so much for you. You haven't done this for me. Like, why can't you blah, 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 blah. But she goes, okay, fine. I'll take the heat. No worry about it. We got it. And I think that she's keeping this alliance alive because of how she is like reacting in moments like that. So that is going to be my other proposed Camilla. My other proposed.
I agree. I was also thinking Camilla because I feel like if anyone has the full picture of what's going on, it's Camilla. Like she knows from both sides. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I think she's a good one.
I think it's a harder one, but I think it's I think it's the hardest episode, but I think it's, I think these are two good options.
I think so too.
Well,
I can't see giving it to anyone else. Those are I don't know.
Me neither. And I normally would say Kyle, but I don't even think Kyle this episode.
No, we didn't get as much from Kyle. And you know what? I actually feel like he did mess up a little socially by not taking Mitch on the reward over maybe Eva.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've got, I think it's either Camilla or Mary. So let us know in the comments who you think the award should go to. But thank you so much everybody for tuning in and chatting with us. Even if we didn't love the episode, we love talking about the episode with you guys. As always, you can find me on the interwebs. I'm at Survivor Simulation on TikTok and at Tegwyth on Instagram. But if you just look up my name, I'm there. And Cara, where can people find you?
At XOX_Cara on Instagram.
Love. And, we have a really great week coming up with just our amazing normal content on Survivor Now. As always, the after show right after the episode airs. We also have the pre-show on Wednesday. I believe that's at 7:00. Got something for you Saturdays at 3 p.m. Survivor Stock Watch is going to be Thursdays at 8 p.m. And obviously, you're going to finish out the week with us Survivor Social Sundays at 8 p.m. I believe we have a guest this coming week. So please keep an eye out to the Survivor Now podcast Instagram to see who that guest is. And we are, looking forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you guys so much for chatting with us. And as always, don't forget to stay social. We'll see you next week. Bye. With me.